Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Troy, and here I am about to show you my programs using single-dimensional array and pointers. Hope you are able to understand clearly, and let's get started. So, let's start with talking about the first program, which is using single-dimensional array. In this program of mine, we are asked to create a program that uses the elements of the array for various uses, such as inserting, updating, deleting, finding an element in the to-be-made array, and doing basic arithmetic operations between two elements in the array. A simple yet interesting task given by our professor. Let's see how this goes. Oh, by the way, in this program of mine, the functions of the program are based on what I have interpreted from the instructions given. So you may have a different opinion on this, but this is my program, so let us continue. The include directive here is the header file, which is basically the foundation of every C program to be able to do such things with the C language. Here in lines 3 and 4, here in line 3 and 4, these are global variables to indicate the values of the whole program or code within the lifetime of the program. This means that they are easily accessible to any parts of the program since they are declared outside the function. Okay. Next we have place a data. I have placed the int data type with an array with a size of 100, and I as the initializer, size as an indicator for the upcoming customized array, and lock to determine the location of the elements with the use of their indices. Also, we have a char data type over here with a variable named pick. The purpose of this is for option picking purposes in the program. All of these data types and variables will be understandable in the later parts of the program. Now, then we have these pre-declared functions from 6 to 13. These pre-declared functions, which are also known as formal parameters, and they serve to minimize the workload of the main function and make the code look clean. I declare it beforehand, but I didn't put any codes in this, so we can easily see what happens in front of it and how they slowly be used. By the way, by front, I mean the main function. Okay, so on to the main function themselves. Here in line 17, I require to ask the size of array to be made, and the inputted value and is being received and addressed by the and to the size variable, which is this one over here. Let's say the variable or the element I want to use is 3. After the process of here, I create the array and address of the elements to their specified indices with regards to the size. So I initialize I is equal to 0, then gave it a condition that if I is less than size, then it would increase the value of I until such time that I and size are equivalent, and the loop would end on that note. Let's say I want the elements 1, 2, 3, and then it will read as 0 is equal to 1, 1 is equal to 2, and 2 is equal to 3. So let us see. You can see it over there in the top right of the screen. Let's say I want 3. And 1, 2, 3 are my variables. As you can see that 0 is equal to 1, 1 is equal to 2, and 2 is equal to 3. Okay, that's basically it. After that, I show the made array using, like I said, line 23. This is here. I just show the using the loop. It will display accordingly, since what I got from the data, I use a loop for it. And when displaying, I use two integer format specifiers to indicate the index, which is the variable I, and the value or the element under that index using the array and specified I, or the array I, which is my array actually. Okay, and here you can see. After that, I just printed here some instructions serving as a menu on what they can do in this program or what you can use in this program. I used the format specifier of character because that is what the instruction has required. So then it put the character, and then it is received and addressed to the variable pick. Okay, over here. Then I use a switch. Okay, here over here. I use a switch case statement or switch statement here to be able to easily and neatly choose the the instructions of my code and our program and display it from the chosen character in the pick variable. If the following characters are chosen, just like let's say if I chose W, then it will prompt the code being inputted, which is insert option function, being specified under the character and assigned. But if they just type in a different letter or anything that is not within the case, then it will go to default and print invalid option. But if chosen correctly, it will prompt what is being indicated there, and in this case, these are the functions being declared or what is going to be prompted. So let us go with the functions being defined here one by one. Okay, so here we have the insert option. Let me just highlight this for you guys. Okay, so the insert option, this function would be able to insert an element to the current array being made. That is the purpose of this function. So as we can see here, I put a variable named element, and it is used to store data of what element is to be inputted here. So yeah, see, put in an element. After, let's say we want the variable or the element to be 9. Okay, 9. We want 9 to be inserted. So after that we just choose the location where to put this data being held by L, which is 9. By location, I mean the index position of the array. So let's say I want 1 as the index. Okay, so let us go to the program again. Let's click W for insert array. Now you want to insert the element. We'll just put an element, which is 9. And let's put a letter. Let's put a location, which is 1. Okay, as you can see here, so it just inserted 1, 9, 2, and 3 and displayed over here. So how does this work? Here in line 69, we have a do-while loop over here, and it will execute the instruction at first, then it will be tested, and it will end the condition in the while statement here is satisfied. Okay, the purpose of this is optional. Okay, the purpose of this do-while loop is to make sure that all the elements are in their place, in their specified indices, like the one mentioned in the main function or the one prompt in the screen right now at the top right. This is an optional set of code because I just want to use it here as a sample that this can be used like this, because sometimes it won't work with some programs because it kind of messes up and the elements and the indices are totally messed up and are not in sync, and they are not what you expect. Basically, you just want to use the codes set here in line 74. That is what is needed here in inserting an element in the array. Then it would increase the size over here of the array so that the inserted element will be displayed and displayed. So let's say you want to insert element 9, the array of 3, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. Okay, then each element is displayed using the for loop here. Okay, over here, let me just show you this. Okay, the for loop here. all of these. Then each of the, okay, again, then each element is displayed using the for loop here until such time the condition is satisfied. So the new size is now 4 because we increased it, and then I is equal to 4, then it should, and it would end the loop for, and when I is equal to 4, by the way, actually, again, when I is equal to 4, then it would end the loop. Still the same with the, in here in line 83, okay? But it just shows the position of the array. So, like over here in the code, or in the program I executed, we have the element, they just prompt the element, and then we have the indices, the location of the arrays. So that is it. Okay, that is for insert. Now let's go to update. Okay, let me just close this and prompt a new one over here so we have less time. Okay, let's say we want 3 as well, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we go to update, which is letter A. Okay, is it on the screen? Yes, it's on the screen right now. Awesome, nice. Okay, want to update the element, choose location. Okay, awesome. Let me just minimize everything else here. Okay, there we go. Okay. Continuing, here in line 88, or which is this one, which is the update option function, is where we just change the value of the element in the current array being made. Here we have the up variable, which is used to store the new element, and lock here is to lock here. Again, lock here is to choose the index position of the current array and change its value with the new element. So lock is already is a global variable, so it's mentioned above, and yeah. And let us continue with that. There's nothing more else to explain. Then here we use a for loop. Okay, over here we use a for loop. For loop to be able to determine the size of the array size being inputted beforehand, then executes the if statement, which is if I is equal to the set location value, then it will replace or update the value up from the location, from the chosen location. This could be either the array I or the array lock. But since if statement also mentioned if I, let me just clear this, if I is equal to lock, then logically it means that the location you want to put the new element is the same with the I that we're finding here. Okay, so that's very simple. Okay, here's a sample. We have 3 and elements of 1, 2, 3. I want to change location 0. Location 0 with element of 5. So here we go. We have changed the program over here. It goes to the for loop and determines the value and it says array, and goes to the if statement and then choose 0 for the lock, and I in the array has also the location 0, so it is good, and proceed to change the value for the array I with the elements stored up. And here we go, and you see over here it still uses the same for loop and stuff being indicated. So for loop here to display, and for loop here to display the address and their elements. So that is all for the update variable. Let me just prompt it again. Prompt it. So okay, we want, let's put it on hold for now. Okay, let's continue with the delete option. We're going to continue with the delete option. In the delete option here, we are to delete an element in the array. So we choose the location of the typical numerical position of the element. So if we type the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Awesome. Then here we have the if statement over here. If this if statement is satisfied, which is lock is greater than or equal to size plus 1, then it is considered invalid. Otherwise, we're going to go to the else statement here, then we proceed to go with a for loop. This is quite similar to the other for loops we have in Cahilog, but in here, I is equal to lock minus 1 as the initializer, then proceeds with the condition that if I is less than size minus 1, then it would increase, then proceed with the code. Then proceed with a set of instructions over here, which is this one in line 119, and so on and so forth. So the purpose of this, why we did this, is for that the element in that chosen location to the last part of the declared array would copy the remaining values from the indices after the chosen index that you want to delete its value, and then be sent back by 1. So it will be something like this. So let me just compile it over here. Okay, let me just compile and run it over here. Okay, we want let's say you want 5, and we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we want to delete something. Again, we have to choose the typical numerical position of the element. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want to delete 1 over here, and there we go. We have the new updated array, which is 1, 2, 3. This 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so awesome. Then that is all for the delete option over here. Then we try to display it. Okay, how do we display this? To be able to display it in the update array with the deleted element, I just proceed with the same for loops, but subtracted the size by 1 in the location. That way that the nth index that was transferred from the index before would be removed. So it is simple as that. Okay, now let us continue with the next one. In the find option, I have variables named search, which is the element that I want to search. Is the variable that I use to search for the element, and find to be able to find the element in the array. I think it's quite confusing. Then it is initialized to a -1 because that has a purpose. Okay, later on. Moving on, still the same for loop and the if statement here. And the if statement is saying that if the element or value stored in search would be equivalent to the array I, then the located element of the search, which is considered then the element in I, is equal to the variable find, or is related to the variable find. Now the purpose why find is initialized to -1, because I want it to be an error when the error when the inputted element in the search to say invalid if it is less than 0, because 0 is the starting index of the array, and if we try to put 0 over here, then it will consider invalid, and the array will kind of be messed up. After that, all this will be printed and displayed over here. Okay, so let me just show you this. Let me just execute the program over here for a while. Okay, let's say we have 3 elements, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we want to search, which is D. I want to let's choose enter the element to be searched. So let's say 1. Okay, 1 is located at index 0. So there you have it. That is index 0. That's how it goes. I think it's displayed. Yes, it is displayed in my OBS, and let's continue then. Okay, now for the arithmetic state, they're kind of simple. We have the add option, the sub option, the mul option, and the div option. So addition, subtraction, multiplication, and addition. And all these options of the arithmetic is using the same formula but with different variable names. So it's kind of something like this. That is the answer. the array variable 1 or variable A plus subtract, divide, or multiply the array variable B. Okay, same with the others. But for my div option over here, I made the answer into float data type instead of a integer. And the second dividend over here, which is the array of variable B, will be floated as well to get the exact amount when dividing, just like this. Okay, let me show you. Start with a division over here. So let's say 1, 3, 1, 2, and 3. Let me just choose letter L for division. The first index is, let's choose index 2. And let's choose index 1. And there we have it, 1.5. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Awesome, right? How about another execution for addition? It's kind of simple, right? Addition, subtraction, and multiplication have the same things. So 1, 2, and 3. Let's go to I. Index, let's say 0 and 1. Okay, we have 3. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3, and so forth and so on. Okay, so they have the same options, everything, and we have nothing to worry about. So that's all to that single dimensional array. Pretty hefty but interesting and educational as well. Learning about the uses of the functions and stuff. Now let us go on with the pointers array over here. There's no much difference since we just declared the array, which is address from the predefined variables to the pointers or the pointer names. Okay, there's actually no difference in the array and stuff. In the global variable, I just placed here pointer x, y, answer, and ptr the array, also including the float pointer of div p. The purpose is that they are used mostly in the code, and since it would create an inefficient and unnecessary complexity in space, so I just did that. If I do it manually in place to place, then it would just create unnecessary spaces. So after that, basically like I said, global variables are used across all the functions and instructions in the code or the program, and we just declared over there so it won't be a hassle. Okay, we will later on know the purpose of pointer x, y, and answer and div. Okay, I also declared here in the predefined function the pointers, which is this one. Okay, here and to here, which means that the variable with that data type is the one I'm looking for and being input or being displayed over here or being prompt over here. Okay, so in pointer, and for div it is float pointer, and you all know in a sec why I use floater pointer or a float pointer. So in the programs, instead of using the array I just use ptr I. Why? Because the array itself is addressed with ptr, which is the pointer. So over here, so it's whatever value is sent here is received here, or what is received here is still saved here, and it goes to array over here. Okay, so it is something like that. So easy, it's easy peasy. Now let's go here to the switch statement. Now in the switch statement, it's the same thing, but I now have the things that I am looking for. As we can see here, that every function call, which is this one over here, has a value parameter here. So meaning whatever is connected in the functions down below will be prompt the given instructions, or will prompt the given instructions here. So the first 4 option has nothing changed in the processes and disruption, just the address of the array being related to ptr and so forth and so on. But for the arithmetics, it's still nothing. But in the first variable, let me show you my arithmetics over here. As you can see, the first variable is addressed to x, pointer x, and the second variable is addressed to pointer y. Okay, and the results of iteration, it will be sent, relayed, or addressed to the answer variable. Okay, so I just basically point them to that part, and yeah, That is all for everything of else. Also, for the float, why I use float point over here? Because my answer is a float actually. Okay? So the final answer over here is prompt as a is printed or displayed as a float. So that is why I use a float pointer. And that is basically it with my programs. That is all, and hopefully you lot understand what is being meant here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Ciao, Troy out. Bye bye.